Not me. That was in Coronado. Well, I was on the damn base. The girls had to stay on the base, and the damn guys,
That's right.
more seniority, lived in the Oakdale apartments in freaking Coronado.
All right, so let's try this again. It wasn't in Coronado, was it? It was in
No, it was Mission Beach.
Okay, so just do it for 1982. Too close. We don't even remember 81, 82. You were making $642 a month when I met you, and I was making 749 whole dollars from the Navy's Kitty when we met in San Diego to pre-commission the USS McKee. The USS McKee was in Seattle, Washington, being built, close. But to get everybody together and started doing classes and different things like that, that was in San Diego. And you were stuck on the base.
They put all us new girls. That was one of the first ships that ever had girls on it. And so we were all new. We didn't know a damn thing. We were the stupidest bunch you've ever seen. And they put us 3 to a room, bed, in the barracks at the downtown San Diego base, that base.
32nd Street.
Yeah, 32nd Street. And all of these yahoos that had been in for a couple of years, they put them in Mission Beach.
Mission Bay in the Oakdale apartments. Really nice apartments. I think there was 2 or 3 of us to a room, an apartment. And
there was 2 to a room, 2 bedrooms. I remember.
I remember your room, too. I don't think we were getting anything over on any of those girls next to us. You're in there cuddling.
That seems so long ago. So long ago. Can't now even remember it.
And we didn't have shit for money. I mean, we did not have any money. So at some point, they transported us all to Seattle.
Mm-hmm. To the ship.
And we were living on board the ship now, as it was in the final stages of sea trials and to get it to San Diego. That's what we had to do up there. And there was no... We found places to frequent where we could get a little bit of privacy. But what we do, I think that was our initial saving, you and me, was to save up for a hotel room every month. Or as often as we could get it. And I went back and I looked at it. I don't remember how we could have possibly found that thing.
It was the only thing within walking distance. None of us had a car. And if you were on the Lockheed shipyard, it didn't matter if you were on the ship or not, you were wearing hard hats. So on the weekends, on Friday, when we would get off, if we didn't have watch, because he was port and I was starboard. So
let's explain. Port and starboard are watch sections.
Yeah.
Some ships have a 3-section duty. Once every 3 days, you're on there for 24 hours. I was a sentry on a destroyer. I was once every 5 days. I was very lucky for that. And then port and starboard means you got duty every other day.
It sucks.
And she was in one section and I was in the other, so we never saw shit of each other in passing.
But when we would get ready, we would save up back then, you didn't have allotments. You didn't have where your military check goes right into your bank. We actually went down to dispersing, and they called our name, and they gave us money. That's what we got, money.
Cash.
We didn't even have a checking account. We didn't have a bank account or nothing. But I would put on my full-on makeup, my jewelry, and my little red miniskirt thing I had, and a hard hat, and we would have to walk, rain or shine, and it rained a lot because it was Seattle. we would have to walk across that damn shipyard, and men looking, and if it was just girls going out, the hooping and hollering and hey baby and all that shit, and we'd have to take a cab and go everywhere we was going, or we was going to walk. And so we must have asked somebody where the closest hotel was, and they said right up in top of that hill called the Marlin. And we went to that Marlin hotel, and we had enough money, we could afford it. And we went in there, and the best room in the place, it was the penthouse suite. It had a waterbed in it with not enough water. So when you laid down in it, it was worse than being on the ship. It was awful. He wasn't even 21, so there was a little I remember that little dirty place, just a little hole stuck in the wall on the way to the Marlin Hotel. And I was 21. He wasn't, but I was 21, and I could go in and get Boone's Farm or whatever it was we was getting, a pack of Marlboro Reds. And we would go to that hotel and stay. So as long as we could, we would just run back across that town. That damn...
Lock the door and not come out
Lockheed Shipyard.
the weekend.
Well, we couldn't come out. We didn't have any damn money. There wasn't any, but there was one place I remember, and it was called the Purple Cabbage. And it's the first time I'd ever have had one. And he took me in there, and it was right by the water in a bad section of town. But it was cool in there, and that's where I had my first Bloody Mary. And they had pickled asparagus spears and stuff in there, and that's where I had my first Bloody Mary. You don't remember that, do you? The Purple Cabbage? I do.
We got in it. It was one of the few bars I could get in. The ship provided basically everything. We'd eat breakfast, lunch, dinner in there. You had a bed. Her compartment was one above mine. You had a ship store. That's where you got your toothpaste, your soap, shampoo, cigarettes.
You could get your hair cut.
Yeah, get all that stuff. They had this little stylist on board. There's just chaplain, CO, XO, everybody. And that's what we did. We lived on board that ship. And had a pretty good damn time.
Oh, we had a good time.
An ID card. They could make you ID cards on board the ship. This is 1,200 people on there. 100 women, 1,100 guys or something like that. And I think I claimed, because I knew the girl that was doing the ID cards, I think you had some influence there too, but I claimed I'd lost my ID card, and when she gave me the information to fill out, I lied about my age, put it on there for a couple extra years or some shit, and I had me a spanking ass new ID card. And we finally sailed that to San Diego.
Did we even have driver's licenses?
Yeah, I did.
I don't remember. Yeah, we did sell it to San Diego.
They were chasing me through Virginia. That's how long the day I left I was living here as a boy, and I had my two brothers in the car with me, and I was leaving for Japan the next day, and we were driving right outside of St. Michael's, and there was a cop. This is, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It was dark. And this cop had some guy pulled over on the side of the street, and he was writing him a ticket. He was standing next to his car, and I said, "Hey, watch this." Pushed the fucking gas pedal right to the floor and blew past that cop, and all I saw him was papers go flying. He jumped in that car and chased me down. And I dodged it going to Japan. I just completely ignored it, and it caught up to me in Virginia. And they still had that, and I wasn't getting away with it. But my dad did get us a car.
We paid for it.
Oh,
he co-signed for it.
He co-signed it, and he was questioning the co-signing. Did we have enough money? Could we afford a car? And we're like, well, we're paying a couple of bucks a day on the city bus. Just to get up at 4 a.m. to get on the bus to drive to downtown San Diego, and then from there it took us to Point Loma. on that nasty city bus right in the bum central.
It took us 2 hours to get home.
Yeah, it was terrible. Long bus ride from where we lived in because we saved up enough and we got an apartment. It was a nice apartment, too.
Yeah.
Old Ed Ross. What was the name of those apartments?
I can't remember.
I don't remember either. But they were nice. We're the youngest people in there. A bunch of old people. And,
A bunch of quiet, old people.
we never raised too much hell in there, I don't think. Well, not party-wise, anyway.
Until you would get underway, and all my girlfriends would go over there and stay with me. And we had a friend, Jake. And Jake was a bad boy. He's one of them boys that went in the military instead of going to prison or some shit like that. And he had a Harley. And this place had a big black wrought iron gate that you had to open. And when you walked in it, it was a beautiful flowing fountain right in the middle. I mean, it was nice. It was especially nice for us. But it was all old people. When I say old, I mean like 80 years old. And he was gone, and he had come over to give something to one of them girls staying with me, and he rode that Harley right in at the bottom of them stairs. Remember I told you about that? Oh, they about shit.
What were we paying? We've got a one-bedroom furnished apartment. One furnished with much. What were we paying for
Furnished
that?
with much. Hell would I know. After all these years, I can't remember. $500 a month or something.
Yeah, we sure struggled, too, to get that together.
Yeah, I think it paid our electricity too, and that's why we could afford to get that one. But we were broke, and we talked about it on here before, because it was a brand new ship. Everything was brand new. Everything on that ship, the gray wool blankets that we were given, the sheets to go on our racks because they were twin-size beds, racks. So we stole us a couple of new blankets. The mess decks, it really was pretty. It was up in the officers' mess, and my girlfriend was working up there, and they got in these big cases of silverware, and the dishes were white porcelain bowls and plates and cups that had a blue anchor on them. Oh, and I thought they were the prettiest things I've ever seen, so I stole 2 cups, 2 plates, 2 bowls, and carried that off. And that's what we had. That is all that we had. I don't even remember having a coffee pot or nothing, but little by little we'd get like one knife, a sharp knife that would cut a steak. Not that we ever ate steak, but that's the way we started. At Christmas time, they had got some brand new vacuum cleaners, and we didn't have a vacuum cleaner. And we wrapped that up in Christmas paper and put a bow on it, and I took a magic marker and wrote, "Do not open till
It
Christmas."
was in a box.
Yeah.
I had to get it off the ship.
And so we carried that vacuum cleaner.
My mother sent us something.
I
kept the box. So they wouldn't open it, because they search bags and shit like that going on and off the ship. And so I wrote.
And we're really good people. We give back now. We give back as much as we can. But we were broke, and we were serving our country. And we were probably eligible for food stamps and shit back then. We didn't make nothing.
Terrible.
But we
didn't have a TV.
No, we didn't have a
neighbor
TV.
next door felt sorry for us because
what was his name? Carlos?
Caesar.
Caesar. He was Greek.
We kept him up all night long. Come to find out, 'cause he could hear us in there wrestling, and he made mention of it once. But he gave us a TV. It was a little black and white thing, and we could only get channel 6 on the antennas. And the laundry room downstairs had that big stack of National Geographic magazines, so we would sit, watch Ponderosa and Perry Mason, and read National Geographic magazines. Anything to get off that ship. And then we'd go back to work. It was a terrible hard time.
It didn't feel like a terrible hard time. It felt like so much fun. running to go get on that ship so that we wouldn't be late, running to get on the bus when we would get off in the afternoon to go to our little apartment. And I don't know what in the hell we ate, but wasn't much.
No, my dad, we finally got that, what was that, a Nova?
A Nova, a 4-door burgundy, ugly-ass Nova.
It ran great, but now you got a car, you don't have to take the bus anymore, but you got to put gas in and keep it just like that. And to get on the base, you had to have a base sticker, and to get a base sticker, you had to have insurance. And we couldn't afford the insurance on that car, so I had to steal one. I forget how I did that. I think at one point I kind of made one that would pass the check as you were, and we'd wave. I mean, I remember telling, okay, wave real big at this guy, getting this through to distract him from not looking at the bumper. And it colored something red to get on. It passed, but we didn't have any money for insurance.
Point Loma was in San Diego, and it's the prettiest little base. I don't even remember. It was just a little sub base, a submarine base, and it was just at the tip, a point of land that had water all around it. And I'm probably getting it wrong because I don't remember very much, but I think there was only 2 ships there. I know there was more subs there, but it was the USS McKee, and ours was brand new, and the other one was the USS Ajax. And it was a submarine tender, but it was sort of already run down. I don't remember a lot of big office buildings or anything being there, but there was a little chapel, a little white chapel, right there on the side of the road. And Don asked me if I wanted to marry him. And so we planned a wedding in about 30 minutes. And we decided that since we was going to be off because of Christmas break and we wouldn't have to stand port and starboard watches, that we ought to get married the day after Christmas. That'd be easiest for us. We weren't thinking about our families or anybody. We called, said, we hope you all can make it. Well, of course, my parents couldn't make it. My parents didn't have a lot of money, and I mean, it's Christmas. So Don's mom and daddy, they came. The whole family didn't come because it was Christmas, but they came. And she said, well, what are you going to have? And I said, I've already ordered a wedding cake from the Big Bear. That was the grocery store out there. One little bitty thing, that's all we could get. And she took me to Kmart. They had Kmarts out there, and she bought me, it was a punch bowl that had a crack down one side of it, but it didn't leak. And it had, 3 or 4 cups with it. We weren't going to use them cups anyway. We used red Solar cups or whatever we had. But we had punch and peanuts and something else. And one of the black guys, I love him. I'm still friends with him on Facebook. His name was Colston. And he had a side hustle from being in the Navy, and he was a DJ at one of them clubs, and they called it spinning. They'd do that thing with the records. And so they had a silver disco ball hanging in this recreation building. And the thing was, you put down a $50 deposit, and if you cleaned it up real good, you got your $50 back. So we cleaned it good, and we got our $50 back. But we had a DJ. We drank Andre champagne, $2 a bottle or whatever the hell that shit was. We had the best time. We partied all night long. And then Don's mom and daddy said, well, we've got to go catch our flight. We'll see you all. And Don had his pipe, because he wore his Cracker Jacks when we got married. And he had his bosun pipe. And when his dad, the airline captain, when he was leaving, Don piped him over the side. And Don's mama started crying. She was her baby boy getting married to this floozy from Tennessee.
Ship's chaplain married us.
Yep.
We knew everybody on there. They could print
My
out
boss.
these really nice flyers to do it. What are those called? Invitations and
Flyers.
what was it?
It was an invitation. And I'll tell you how young and stupid I was. They had books. He was in the printing department, Tex. He was from Texas. And he had all these things I could have picked for. And I picked a woman's leg with a stocking and a garter belt. It's the trashiest freaking picture in that old book. But that was our invitations. And we just hand delivered them to everybody on the ship. We didn't even pay for postage.
Most people were home for Christmas leave. That's what the period was.
There wasn't very many people there, but we had
a
the
lot.
best time.
We had a big wedding.
We did. We had
The drunken debauchery. Oh my goodness.
we had such a good time, and it was so fun, and all the old senior bosun mates were there, and Mickey Cupperson was my chief, and he gave me away. Him and his wife stood up there for me because my mom and daddy couldn't come. It was just the cutest, funnest thing, and I think my dress probably was like $50 or something from J.C. Penney's, just a little old lace dress. But I bet that our whole wedding didn't cost $300. I know it didn't cost $300, and we got 50 of that back from that thing. And we'd been married for 44 years, so I don't know. You're just as married as you are if you have a big old fancy wedding and drive everybody nuts for months planning it.
One of us had to leave the ship and got married. That was part of the thing too, and I was no fan of the USS McKee. So you stayed in Point Loma, and I went to Coronado at Assault Craft Unit 1. I'm trying to figure out and remember how the hell you would get to work every day and I would get to work. We had to have had a second car at some point.
You were gone.
Didn't we get that
when I moved
Fiat
over
from
there?
Ed
You
Ross?
weren't.
That's what we did.
But you weren't there. That's when some weird shit started happening at the Ed Ross apartments, and I was terrified. And so I found a place. The apartment building that we lived in, it was a nice apartment building, but North Park area, it's not the best area to live in when you're a young, blonde-headed, stupid, idiot girl. So I went over and tried to find an apartment closer to where he was going to be working. And I found one in Imperial Beach, right behind the Hungry Hunter restaurant. That's the fanciest restaurant I've had ever been in my life, but I found us a little townhouse over there. It was cute as it could be. And I had just moved. And Don called his parents and said, I can't find my wife. I was pissed off. He had called me from the Philippines drunk on the payphone. And I could just hear them little Filipino girls bullshit in the background. And he passed out on the cell phone, 18 years old or whatever he was, and drunk in a bar. There wasn't no cell phone on a payphone. That's how you called.
I tried to call you and say hello.
I was busy. Oh, my gosh. And none of it seemed hard. None of it seemed hard to me. And there just wasn't nothing. And we'd just talk and do shit together and spend time together. No cell phones, no computers, none of that shit. And nothing seemed hard. It just seemed easy and happy.
drinking beer, generic beer. That's all it said on it.
A white can, a white label, and in big black letters it said beer.
Yep.
And that's what he drank.
Something, shopping. And it was kind of lean times having to pay for the electricity and all that other stuff. But it all worked out, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. I did.
And we'll do the next segment where we buy our first house. How about that?
I love that house.
Yeah, it was a nice house. That's where we've been into things, is real estate. That place needed a little bit of work.
I'd live in that house right now if I could pick it up and bring it here. But I wouldn't live in California if you gave me $1 million.
No. Okay, let me go buy you some lunch.
Let's go.